We are well into 2023 and Cybertruck is getting really close. Finally, it seems like it's actually going to happen. So let's talk about what we know so far, what we think we know about Cybertruck, and what is coming up. The machines to build most of the Cybertruck, the Gigapresses, are in Tesla's factory. They're probably fully constructed by now. We saw lots of drone shots of the machines being set up in Tesla's Gigafactory, Texas, but then Tesla put up huge curtains so we can no longer track the progress of the Cybertruck and see exactly where it is. Now that's unfortunate, but I totally understand. Tesla probably doesn't want all this stuff leaking and their competitors seeing exactly what's going on and everybody making all these assumptions. Tesla fans tend to get a little excited, and then when things don't happen when they expect, they get a little disappointed, as we saw from Investor Day. Everyone had all these things about Hardware 4, that was partially my fault, but also a new vehicle coming out and all kinds of stuff that didn't actually come to pass at Investor Day. Tesla just talked about itself, the company, and their plans over the next 10 years or so and how it's going to achieve its different goals and the things it's achieved so far. So let's start off with what the Cybertruck is looking like these days. There has been a new Cybertruck spotted. We've seen a lot of pictures of it driving around, and then this newest Cybertruck was seen at Investor Day, and people got close-up pictures, and during the event people even got video of it driving around. It's looking like the frunk is actually going to open like the F-150 Lightning, meaning the front bumper is actually going to move up with the Cybertruck. That is a design choice I love. When you have tried the frunk in a lot of cars, you don't think about it so much in a Model 3 or a Model Y, but when you get to like the Model X or the Rivian R1T, you have this huge mass in front of you and you have to kind of reach over it. Not that big of a deal, but to get that huge piece of mass away from you, put it up in the air so you can easily reach into the frunk and move things around and just have better access to it, it is such a better design. So there are some lines on the sides of the frunk that make it look like that's probably what's going to happen. Of course, we don't know for sure. And come on, Tesla, this thing better be powered. Give us a powered frunk. You're like the last EV maker that doesn't do powered frunks. It's very strange in my opinion. I don't know why they're not doing this, but it is a huge quality of life improvement if you've ever done like the aftermarket ones. I've done those before and they are awesome. So the bed is supposed to be 6.5 feet. It is updated though. So in the original renderings, it was like this all metal bed and it had these weird kind of grooves in the floor that a lot of people were concerned would trap dirt or other debris and be really hard to clean out. Well, now it looks like a more traditional truck bed that has the like rhino liner or whatever that is in there. And it's like a plastic liner. And instead of being grooves that are dipped into the floor, they're actually coming out of the floor. So that looks, again, much more like a traditional truck, a traditional pickup, something you can just hose out really easily and clean off or just leave dirty if you don't care. That looks really good to me. The black color makes it look a lot more professional and finished, and maybe is what we're going to see in the final Cybertruck. So this newest Cybertruck we've seen driving around, it has the triangle mirrors, which I think look a lot better than the full kind of square or rectangle mirrors we were seeing before. I did see the Cybertruck in person when I was at Gigafactory, Texas for the Model Y 4680 launch. And I will say the thing that stuck out the most to me was not actually the wiper blade everybody talks about, which we're going to talk about in a second, but the mirrors on the sides really stuck out. They looked very strange, they were huge, and they just did not fit the car. These triangle mirrors, I have not seen them in person, but from the pictures I've seen, they seem to fit the truck a lot better. Now, Elon Musk did say that these will be easily removable. It seems like a lot of people are going to do that. The laws on this vary by state. For me in Michigan, you actually don't have to have the passenger side side mirror, but you do have to have it on the driver's side. Now, I'm interested if I took them both off, let's say I get pulled over, could I show the cop, oh look, it's actually a camera, and I could show him the interior camera and say, that's how my car sees. Would that let me get away with it? I don't know. I think legally right now that's not allowed, but if you were to show that and say, oh yeah, this car doesn't come with mirrors, it has a camera to show me that angle, maybe a cop would be like, oh, okay, you're good, and let you go. I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna try it. That's for sure, because you do get better efficiency without the mirrors, and the Cybertruck, let's be honest, does look better. Now, in terms of looks, I still hear this constantly. It's ugly, blah, blah, blah. I actually don't care what it looks like. I want the most function and the most utility out of my vehicle, especially when I'm using it. I can't see it anyway. What do I care how it looks? When I'm not using it, I probably am not looking at it or staring at it, although the Cybertruck is pretty eye-catching. I find it so funny that all these traditional pickup owners are so concerned with the looks of their truck. Didn't you buy a truck to like haul stuff and tow stuff and drive through the dirt and the mud and, you know, have utility? Maybe not. I guess people, you know, enter their pickup trucks in beauty contests. That's not for me. I really do not care. I want the most utility. So if I can remove those mirrors for aerodynamic purposes, sure. But if I want the mirrors to check around the vehicle and make that easier while I'm driving, then that's probably what I'm gonna go with. So the wheels, this latest Cybertruck and Investor Day kind of went back to the first wheels we saw with those caps on them that looked all futuristic and Cybertrucky. But this is another one I wanna say, like, everybody needs to like calm down a little bit, I think, because When we first saw the Cybertruck with those wheels, a lot of people liked them, whatever. And then we saw most of the Cybertrucks after that were driving around did not have those wheel caps on. Now, first of all, just like the Model 3 and the Model Y and even the Model S now come with these kind of covers you can easily take on and off the wheel, that's what it looks like for the Cybertruck. It looks like you can probably pop these on and off pretty easily. But even if not, who cares what wheels we see the truck driving around with? You can easily change out wheels at any time. You could change them aftermarket. Tesla could give you multiple wheel options as they do on all their vehicles now, or maybe they won't because they want Cybertruck production to be pretty simple. But yeah, I see a lot of people kind of panicking whenever they see different wheels and tires on the car, and it's like, hey, you can change those out in like 10 minutes, so I would not focus too much on that and not worry about it. Aesthetically, it looks fine. The wheels and tires are pretty big, which is going to come with a pretty big efficiency hit. Me personally, again, I want the most efficiency out of my vehicles. So I would be fine driving my Cybertruck with tiny little tires, not too small, but small tires that maybe look a little strange on it for that increased efficiency, especially for like highway driving, which I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I will use the Cybertruck. I'm not probably gonna tow much, but I will be filling the bed up with stuff. But I'm probably gonna do a lot of commuting to work as well in it. So it's kind of one of those trade-offs where like, I'm not gonna be off-roading with it so much. I want efficiency for my daily driving. So then we also have this kind of like boat aspect of it where Elon Musk pretty recently kind of said it will be able to be used as a boat for short amounts of time. It can float. He wants the Cybertruck to be able to go from Starspace to South Padre Island to go over the channel over there. I don't know exactly what distance that is. I'll try to put it up on the screen if I can find it. But yeah, he wants that to actually be like an advertised feature of the Cybertruck. I can't imagine floating this Cybertruck in the water for any amount of time. But at Investor Day, some of the pictures did show that it looks like for the truck bed, there will be a gasket there, which shows Tesla is probably trying to make that part waterproof. Now we know the tonneau cover is automatic and it will retract and come back with the push of a button. So maybe it's just part of that. They don't want to let rainwater into the back of the truck. And that's a big reason why they're sealing it, so you can have your tonneau cover closed and kind of be reassured that it's not going to get wet in there. But it does seem short boat rides will be a feature of the Cybertruck. Very strange, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure people will have uses for that. So then let's talk about that giant wiper. A lot of people are concerned about that. It does look kind of strange, but like I said before, when I saw it in person, I actually didn't really notice it. It did not stick out to me at all. The mirrors, the side mirrors are what really stuck out. It fit well. I don't know what else Tesla would do with the wiper. I don't know where they would put it. There's nowhere to hide it like they do in all their other vehicles. And yes, we've seen that laser patent where like they want to use lasers to clean off the windshield, whatever the heck that means. But it doesn't seem that's ready for Cybertruck yet, or maybe they're saving that for a surprise. But one piece of good news, a lot of people weren't sure if the wiper would actually be sufficient enough to clear the whole windshield. Well, after Investor Day, Franz posted a picture with him in front of the Cybertruck, and you can actually see exactly where the wiper is wiping. It definitely covers the 3 autopilot cameras in the front, and it looks like it also does a great job of clearing off the passenger side of the windshield. And just like most cars, it doesn't seem like it's getting the top of that corner of the passenger side of the windshield. No big deal, nobody needs that cleared off. So it does look like their current implementation, at least what we've seen publicly, is sufficient in cleaning off the windshield. I'm not sure why I need to reiterate that, but again, it's a lot of people have had concerns about that. And whenever these things pop up, of course, initially I'm like, oh, I don't know if that'll work. And then I'm like, come on, these guys have been making cars for a long time. They're not gonna like not know how to put a windshield on the car. So a lot of these things I just kind of trust, you know, they're gonna figure it out, but it's good to see confirmation of exactly where it's being cleaned off and that it's gonna clean everything it needs to. We've seen the channels in the tonneau cover. They look pretty interesting. I'm not sure exactly what to think about that. I would say that Tesla has probably spent a long time perfecting this, especially because we know Rivian actually had a recall for the R1T where their tonneau cover was just not holding up. A lot of people I know have had a good time with their covers and haven't had to have them replaced or repaired or anything. But some people, they failed or they start getting really loud and crunchy and they don't end up working very well. So in the meantime, Rivian stopped including the automatic tonneau cover in the R1T while they re-engineer it, they said. So hopefully Tesla can get this right the first time and us early Cybertruck adopters don't get, something junky that ends up not working 6 months later. Something that seems to be missing from the Cybertruck we're seeing driving around is the top light bar. So you have the front light bar like for the headlights. That looks really good, looks really cool. But in the original unveil, they had a huge light bar on top that looked so cool. It looks great, and I'm sure it adds a lot to visibility. Well, we haven't seen that, and I don't know, it looks like it's not in the latest Cybertruck we've seen driving around. It doesn't mean it won't be included in the final product, but I'm really hoping it is. It's sad that we haven't seen it in a while. Now, with all that said, Elon Musk has said that the Cybertruck design is locked, but we don't know if we've seen it. We don't know if we've seen the final design. We don't know final prices. There's a lot we don't know that Tesla just simply isn't telling us. I'm not sure why. I find it very strange that if the design is locked, they haven't shared it. Now, what should we expect for Cybertruck deliveries? Well, Elon Musk said the middle of this year, around June, I would say, Cybertruck production should begin. Now, that means production should begin, so maybe they'll make a few of them and kind of test out the equipment, and they won't make a ton. Volume production is coming next year in 2024, so that's when most people will take deliveries. Now, like we saw with the Model Y that was first delivered from Gigafactory, Texas, with the 4680 cells, the structural battery pack, and all of those changes, the first units actually just went to employees. So I went to the delivery event for those Model Ys, the first ones to roll out of Gigafactory, Texas, right after Tesla got, official permission to deliver those vehicles. And the event was fun, don't get me wrong, but the lack of information, again, on those Model Ys was very strange. And still to this day, Tesla hasn't officially really told us much. They say, here's the range. That's kind of it. And it was like that for months. They rolled those Model Ys up on stage. They said, all right, we're doing deliveries. And then they didn't say anything. So I'm really hoping we don't have the same issue with Cybertruck where they do a delivery event and they give them to the first employees. And then they're like, all right, Cybertruck's been delivered, woohoo. And they tell us nothing. They gotta open the order page or something. But again, when they delivered those first Model Y, there was no way to even order them. You just bought a Model Y as normal. They pretty much all were coming from Fremont. And there was no way to even request that lower ranged 4680 Model Y, even if you wanted it. Now you can find the standard range Model Y on Tesla's website, but it's like an inventory vehicle. You can't just go to the Model Y page and construct that car and order it. You have to go find it in inventory and then order it that way. So things have been very strange. I would expect for the Cybertruck being a new product, Tesla will open the order page at some point and you can put in your order. But this is another thing I don't want people to get too excited about. Everyone is so obsessed with their reservation numbers. So there's a calculator somewhere online. If you put in your reservation number, it'll tell you approximately what number in line you are. I ordered the night of the event, but not immediately, so I'm around number 40,000, which is pretty good considering it's now in the millions. But as we saw with the Model 3 initial deliveries, it doesn't mean that much. Tesla will deliver it however they decide to do. I'm sure the earliest deliveries will go to people that are probably close to Texas because there's less logistics, there's less shipping. They can get the vehicles to people easier and cheaper. But in my opinion, reservation number doesn't mean much. It's not that important. Now let's talk about the battery and charging. So we know that the Cybertruck is going to use 4680 cells. Tesla has still not really ramped those up. It's making more and more every day, but it seems 4680 production is slower than Tesla would like at this point in time. We don't know what the final range is going to be. Tesla at Unveil said 500 miles for the tri-motor, which is probably now the quad motor variant, which would be the top of the line variant. 500 miles is a lot. Think about the Tesla Model X. It has about 100 kilowatt hour battery pack and it goes 330-ish miles. Well, the Cybertruck is going to be bigger and heavier than the Model X for sure. Despite that, with the shape, the way it's made, it may still be a little bit more efficient. If that's the case, let's say Cybertruck has about the same efficiency as the Model X. Instead of a 100 kilowatt hour pack, if you want to get 500 miles of range, you're going to need about 50% more capacity. So you're going to need around 150 kilowatt hour battery pack. Now you've increased the weight significantly from this bigger battery pack. So let's say we need about 160 to 170 kilowatt hour battery pack for a 500 mile range Cybertruck. I am really hoping they release the Cybertruck with 500 miles of range. I think that will make it prohibitively expensive, but I really want it. Now, is Tesla really going to do this? I have my doubts. There's no competition on the market to actually make that. The only 500 mile range EV on the entire market is the Lucid Air. As far as electric pickups go, their ranges are all around 300 to 330 miles, so there's really not much competition there. So I would guess we'll see probably closer to a 400 mile Cybertruck, maybe a 420 mile Cybertruck, which would still be very impressive, but you can use less of these 4680 cells that are not fully ramped. And we expect the charging curve on this thing to be awesome. So during the Tesla Semi delivery event, Tesla unveiled their next supercharger, which does up to 1 megawatt of charging. 1,000 kilowatts of charging. Right now, Tesla's fastest chargers are 250 kilowatts, so 4 times faster charging. They said that this same charging was coming to the Cybertruck. Now, I wouldn't expect that to mean the Cybertruck is going to get 1 megawatt of charging. That seems insane for a battery of this size, but if you can get, say, 500 kilowatts of charging and the 4680s having a better charging curve than the 2170s or 18650s, then you're going to get some really fast charging in this Cybertruck, and that negates the need for a 500 mile Cybertruck a bit. Now, us folks in colder climates, we know in the winter, even with our heat pumps and efficiency gains, you're still losing a lot of range in the winter. So imagine somebody wants to tow with this thing, and it's the winter, it's like negative 20 out or 0 degrees Fahrenheit out or something. It's going to be not very good if you have 420 miles of range. You'll be losing, I mean, towing and in that cold of weather, you're going to be losing easily half of your range, if not more than that. So you've gone from say 400 down to 200 miles of range. Still respectable for an all-electric truck. And yes, the charging will be fast, but do you really want to stop every 200 miles to charge for 30 to 45 minutes? Gets kind of annoying, and somebody who's towing a lot, this may not pull them from gasoline because the amount of time you spend charging may not be worth the savings and convenience you get with the electric truck. So finally, I want to talk about the final specs of the Cybertruck and what we're going to see. So originally it was going to be 1, 2, or 3 motors. Elon eventually said we're going to go to quad motor, which makes sense to compete with the Rivian R1T, but I think from a practicality standpoint, probably not that necessary. I'm sure it helps with off-roading, but 3 motors I think would be great for almost anyone. And also the electric motors are not going to be a limiting factor in this. It's going to be the 4680s probably for a while. So sure, quad motor will be top end. Let's say we get 400 miles of range, and price I think is going to be pretty expensive. I hate to say it. Now, some of the things that Tesla told us at Investor Day in terms of less wiring, the efficiencies they've gained in manufacturing, the Cybertruck being a much simpler model that doesn't need certain aspects of the manufacturing process, especially no paint. That's a huge time saver right there. On top of time saver, it saves a lot on money because you don't need the labor to do that thing, you don't need the paint, you don't need the paint shop and all of that. So I'm hoping we're going to get a Cybertruck that's under $100,000 for the top end, but it seems like it's asking a lot, especially because we know demand is so high. I personally believe Tesla could price this thing at 150 grand and sell out of them for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't want that. If the Cybertruck comes out at 150 grand, I'm not gonna get it. It's gonna be too expensive and I will cry. But that's just my honest belief that if they priced it that high, it's gonna be sold out for a long time. To qualify for the tax credit, they have to bring the Cybertruck under $80,000. But again, the tax credit is kind of a demand thing. It helps people that are unsure if they want to buy an electric vehicle or unsure if they can afford it. It helps kind of push them over the edge. So when you have so much demand for a product like this, the tax credit is not that important, and I don't think Tesla is going to care all that much about it. This is all just me guessing, but that's how I think it's going to go. So $100,000 top-end Cybertruck I think is definitely possible. I think Tesla would still make a lot of money on every Cybertruck sold. It's just with the level of demand, I'm not sure a price that low will make sense. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they come in at $79,999 so that we can all get our tax credits and take delivery, but I don't know, it doesn't seem possible. In terms of autopilot hardware, it looks so far like the Cybertruck is very similar to other vehicles, although we do know 2 things that are different. It has a front bumper camera. That does not mean it's going to be used in autopilot, but maybe could just be used to help with off-roading or help with parking or something. It also seems to have 2 cameras in the rear, maybe to help something with putting the trailer on or help with backing up or something like that. Again, maybe not used in autopilot, but it seems that that could be on the final product. Elon did say Cybertruck will come with hardware 4, so we know we'll have hardware 4, whatever that is. We still don't fully know. We know there's at least some upgrade to hardware 4 with the computer and having higher resolution cameras. That actually, if you look at Tesla's website, there are some inventory vehicles with hardware 4 that are available right now. You can actually buy a hardware 4 vehicle today. Maybe not delivered today, but you can order it today. So very interesting to see that. Another thing I found interesting from some of the most recent pictures from Investor Day is the sides of the truck. Now, there have been a lot of complaints, people saying that because the sides are kind of angled up, it is going to lose some utility because you can't reach into the bed. And just from seeing the people standing next to it, I don't know what height the suspension was on, because the suspension it's an air suspension, it can lower and it can raise. I don't know if it was on the lowest setting or not, but it seemed like people would easily be able to reach into at least the back half of the bed. So I think you'll still have that utility there. And it's so funny because you'll see a lot of trucks on the road that are like lifted super tall. Those people obviously are not reaching into the bed. It just depends on what you want to use the truck for. There's so many different ways to use it, and no vehicle is going to be perfect. So maybe you do miss out on some of that, but you'll have other things that make this truck unique and special as well. So what do you think? Do you want a Cybertruck or not? Have you seen any things about it that I did not cover in this video? Let me know down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this one, and you will see me in the next video.